Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Infinite Cup podcast. This is my first live session at the Crystal Healing Spiritual Center. This is my good friend Nam right here. If you're watching on YouTube, you can have like a visual for this. If you're just listening in the audio version, then just be clear with my voice. I'll do my best to kind of describe what's happening. This was like a real legit like sound bath, like a crystal healing bowls, singing bowls, frequency meditation, all this stuff that you see on my YouTube channel, all the stuff that I'm into. This is like a live in-person, sound bath with a credited master. His name is Nam. Awesome guy. Seriously, one of my good friends. Met him at the Lotus Garden many years ago, and we just hit it off, talking about all things orgonite, tensor rings. We went into the 5G, how all of this electromagnetic frequency is bombarding our health, and just getting into a little bit of Nam's history, how he got into veganism, how he got into the crystal singing bowls, how he got into all of this, yogic, mystical stuff, and we really got deep here, guys. You guys are going to love this episode. I had such a good time with the sound bath. We went back and forth just talking about crystals, talking about the power of energy. We really went deep here as far as going into really healing with sound. All right. That's really what we got to with this podcast. When I think of Nam, I think of someone who's really talented with music and really just provided a way to really heal. Okay. Not only through his own experiences, but through helping others at his crystal healing sanctuary. So he's had this vision for community. We go into this discussion about how, providing community and getting connected with our spiritual family is so important. I mean, I really feel resonated with everything that Nam is doing right now, and I just feel blessed to be able to go on site. This is the first on-site live recording for the podcast show. Really excited about that. Again, we did the epic sound bath. Again, if you have not experienced any sort of sound healing or been to a frequency meditation, I highly suggest it. I know you've probably seen the YouTube music, the frequency music I put on my channel. That is amazing. And if you want to go to the next level, you got to do this in person. You got to go somewhere and do it in person. So there's nothing like healing your chakras, getting your whole energy aligned through the power of sound, through the power of music. So again, I highly suggest this. If you're in the Sacramento area, Nam is in Elk Grove. The Spiritual Healing Center is in Elk Grove. If you want to get out there, we talked about a few live events coming up this summer. Get out there, support the cause, support the donations. This is a really good event to get plugged into, to help the community, to help all these things when it comes to healing naturally. Okay, that's what we're all about, right? At the Infinite Cup here, we're all about healing naturally and sustainably. At the end of the day, the spiritual life is what we're about. Healing with sound has just been a part of my practice as well, been a part of my life through meditation, chanting, yoga, and me and Nam really hit it off. So without any further ado, let's just jump right into the episode with me and Nam at the Crystal Healing Sanctuary. All right, everybody, welcome back. Let's see. I'm just so blissed out. It's hard to concentrate right now. It's hard to focus. We've got to get ourselves together here. This is the Crystal Healing Spiritual Center. I'm here with Nam. We're doing a little singing bowl session. Enjoy the healing vibration from frequency meditation.
There'll be a sound bath August 3rd, 6 p.m. to roughly 7:30 p.m. This is on a Saturday. We're accepting love offerings of $20. Please come and enjoy, relax, and shift your energy.
Beautiful. All right, so for those of you watching here on the screen, here on the video form, We have multiple singing bowls around us. We're here in a beautiful healing sanctuary. The vibes are just unreal. And this is about music. This is about energy. This is about healing yourself, the power of energy, frequency. And yeah, we're just here really excited to just be the first live podcast session here. So we're getting a full introduction to the spiritual center, frequency meditation. And yeah, Nam, if you can just give a little introduction just for somebody that's never even heard about singing bowls or energy or anything like that, just like a brief introduction on how all this works.
Oh, we're bioelectrical machines. So we take biology, chemistry, and we convert it to energy. So, they can measure your brain waves with an EEG. They can measure your heart rate with electronic devices. So it just proves that we're just energy.
Yeah.
So when you're not feeling well or, you're stressed, you're holding on to energy that's not serving you. And with these bowls, these frequencies, it shifts and moves the energy out to connect back to your heart. And we need to be more in our heart space. And these frequencies and musical instruments will help you shift your brain waves to more alignment with your energetic body.
Beautiful. I couldn't agree more. And how did all this start for you? When did you first getting into just singing bowls, energy, frequency meditation?
This started back in 2008 when I had a dream about a monk. And, trying to figure out what the message was, it fell upon healing. And so what's next after healing? Well, what do I do to heal? How to help people heal? Is it for me? Is it for everybody? What's going on? So little research, little experiment into meditation, binaural beats, guided meditation, chanting. All these things pretty much associate with monks, being in the Zen state, being healthy, not eating meat and things like that. So I did some experiments. I stopped eating meat in 2012, and the change is profound. Yeah. And a little bit more into research, I did some meditation, and I downloaded some apps from Burt Goldman, who's renowned as the American monk. And so he talks about intention. So whatever it is you want to do, you set the intention for, and that's your roadway, your path that you begin to create for yourself. And my intention was healing, because that was the message that was provided for me. Yeah. And so he had this meditation, a guided meditation called quantum jumping, where you reach into the universe, find a version of yourself that has succeeded in what you want to do right now. Yeah. And so after 3 months of that particular meditation, I got the message sound. Well, how does sound heal? I had no clue. I thought it was just like, all right, what do I do with this now? Does this message make any sense? But through cymatics, the study of wave, the study of sound frequencies on matter, and how it generates images. So with that, I went forward and to look more into chanting, because it's all sound, it's all vibration, and these ancient chants have so much wisdom and feeling of euphoria and connection with the universe. Exactly. It was profound. So I started chanting. I went to the Lotus Garden where I met Robert here. Yeah. And at the time, Sophia, your friend, had 3 bowls, and we sat in a little room and played 3 these crystal bowls, and that was what got me. Yeah. And I felt the healing on myself, and it was profound. So I bought a bowl a couple months later, and I went to parks, and I went to little events where people were out and about, and I just sat in the middle of the park or the event or the fair or whatever it was, and I just played. I played very lightly, and I was attracting people. Some people were sitting there for 5 minutes, some people 15, some people 30 seconds. I could see the profound change in their face and their body language. Some were crying. They were releasing energy that wasn't serving them. And I was like, wow, these are just great experiences. And now I've got, started with 1 bowl, but now I've got a lot.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's just awesome to hear such an organic story. And this is for everybody. I think people are kind of just stuck in what they can see, with their two eyes. And so we're all familiar with music. We're all familiar, with sound in general. But I think people are not using it to the most potential that they could be, right? Yeah. I think a lot of people are listening to music that is pulling them down energetically. A lot of people are absorbed to frequencies that are pulling them down energetically. And, music can be something that's a tool for transformation and growth. And again, a lot of people are just not happy. So, using sound as a vessel for transformation and growth is just awesome. And we've, obviously Tibetan bowls have been around for thousands of years. The glass kind of crystal bowls have been, a little bit newer invention, but just the general idea of healing with sound is becoming more popular. And it's just exciting seeing such a awesome thing, become of age. I think people really need this as far as using it as a tool consciously, again, because it's just so wrapped up in our everyday life. Because people listen to music, people do this on an everyday basis. They're just not really taking it to that next level as far as pinpointing that specific, block in their chakra or whatever is not serving them, and then being able to target that so they can release that and move on with life and start feeling good.
Yeah, there's multiple instruments with multiple frequencies that will hit you in every angle to realign your body, your energy. The most recent music currently, heavy metal and rap and all these other music uses frequencies that are not in alignment with your body. The tuning is off. So if we go back to before 1950s or 1940s, before they standardized the tuning of A to 440, music was tuned to 432, and 432 has a huge significance. You double 432 and you get 864, and that's roughly the diameter of the sun, 864,000 miles across. You take 432 and you have that, and you get 216. Well, the diameter of the moon is roughly 2,160 miles across. So awesome. We are affected by this natural frequency all around us. There's more information, of course, if you look up the significance of 432, but that's what we should be tuning ourselves to, is to nature.
I agree.
So a lot of people are listening to music that they may think it's helping them for that split moment, but there's a lot more in depth that they're not aware of.
True.
Especially words. Words are electromagnetic and they attract. So if we're listening to music that has verbiage in there that is not positive, you may be programming yourself unconsciously to fail at certain things.
100% true. And I think about Dr. Emoto, someone who's proved this scientifically. For those who are watching and listening that don't know Dr. Emoto, it's messages in water. Just type that in YouTube, type that in Google, anywhere, and it's proving this with the physical eye, because he took water and froze it down and brought it to the quantum level where you can actually just see the actual symmetry in the water when we put a positive and negative frequency vibration on it. So in my opinion, this is 100% fact in my reality, in my day-to-day life, but for people that are listening or watching that is a new concept to them. I mean, just think of something as simple as praying over your food, right?
Yes.
Positive intentions are made every single moment with our thoughts, and we can transfer that physically, to water, to food, to other human beings through everything that we do. So this is very much, proven scientifically and not just some woo-woo thing. I think a lot of people hear about singing bowls or hear about chakras and hear about this stuff, and it's still kind of, this far out thing because they haven't brought it into practice, haven't brought it into something that they can, benefit from, right? And that's the thing is, in my opinion, we're all carrying around some sort of block or some sort of, imbalance. So to be able to use a tool to bring ourselves back into alignment, that's what, our God-given abilities are, right?
And it happens, sometimes you really need the sound healing more often than you realize.
It's true.
Because, you absorb other people's energy and energy from the environment, and you become unaligned with yourself, and you're not quite sure what's happening, and you're just going on. But when you listen to these sounds that are harmonious with nature, or even go into nature, hearing the birds, hearing the crickets, the frogs, the crickets, these are all frequencies that will actually help you realign too. Nature is one of the best healing sources. So is sound frequency with the the correct pitch and instruments and
I agree.
Hitting certain chakras. It definitely helps.
Yeah, let's go into frequency a little bit more too, because like we were talking earlier before we were recording, as far as just 5G and just these general things in our environment that are inhibiting our just happiness. Our day-to-day life is being constantly bombarded with frequencies that are electromagnetic, and whether it's physical from like a cell phone tower or metaphysical like a vibration from a human being that you're talking about. It's just every day this is something that we need to, it's a daily practice, right? It's something we need to acknowledge every single day and be able to take action. So
cleanse.
Thank you. Yes.
We need sound cleansing often, whether it be chanting, singing. Your own voice is very powerful. You don't have any sound instruments.
Yeah.
The 5G that's coming out is operating at 5 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz. People don't realize that the microwave operates at 2.45 gigahertz. So if you're nuking and frying your food in the microwave, what is this technology going to do to your body? Well, these small millimeter wave technology don't go very far. They're really high frequency. What they do is they push the electrons on the cell of your body down, and when this electron pops back up out of your skin, it generates heat. So that's what's happening. We're all going to be cooked and fried.
Exactly.
So this is an experiment on life in general, not just humans, but plants, animals. People don't realize that when these small towers or the micro towers are going to be put up, they're going to have to cut down trees and things like that. Trees aren't very important, are they? They just provide oxygen for us to live, right? Yeah. What's going on here?
Yeah, the priorities are way off. And it's something, it's just the Wild West. I feel like they're just, getting away with whatever they can at this point and using, human society as an experiment just to see what happens. So I just want to bring it up because this, sound healing is a tool that we can use to combat that. We have to do as many things as possible to combat these things that are in our environment now. So I know not everybody can, get up and move to Hawaii or Alaska or wherever, somewhere that's going to be all, amazing and away from all this electromagnetic frequency. But I know you do stuff like I do, like we're into, organite, things that are, crystals, tensor rings, like, I'm constantly doing technologies and educating myself as far as what positive vibrational things can I put in my energy field that I can absorb. And that way, because that's what I have to do just to counteract what's happening, in the everyday world now. Yeah,
there are solutions. Turn off your Wi-Fi at night, take off your shoes and walk on the earth. Get into nature, waterfalls, rivers, oceans. Camping, whatever you can, hiking, just to get away from the bombardment of daily frequencies that's hitting you constantly. You need to get away, and going to nature is one of the best sources. There's all the other solutions too, getting a grounding mat, getting a grounding sheet, a copper grounding sheet where you can plug it in and it grounds while you're sleeping. There's solutions to this, but we need to put our voice out there and even do some research on just the effects of these electromagnetic fog, electromagnetic radiation, RF radiation. These things are harmful as it is right now with the current technology we have already. Memory loss, DNA damage, we shouldn't have Wi-Fi in schools. It affects the learning of these kids, and teachers would definitely know because they probably know it before the Wi-Fi was installed and after the Wi-Fi is, and maybe we should ask these teachers if they notice any difference in the students.
100% they know. I've seen articles with towers coming up and kids getting cancer, and then the towers have to go down. It's like, where are we going to draw that line? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think kids getting cancer should be the thing that we have to go to just to draw that line, you know, and that's what I mean by that human experiment that's happening right now. And you're right. I mean, all the technology is completely harming us even before 5G. So now it's, the way I look at it is there's a lot of people that are just not sensitive to it, like you and I, and they just haven't really, drawn that line within themselves in order to do something about it. And I just think this is escalating, more on a daily basis, where people are finally going to have to draw that line because they're being affected, and they just, honestly, the majority of people just don't know, that's just what it is. It's more of an invisible war right now that's happening. And I feel like we've gone through this, materialism, this age of materialism, where we figured out how to, be in the material world. Now we're discovering more of the invisible, and, through technology, using this as a vehicle like we have for quite some time now. But like I said, with the crystal bowls and healing, like, this is invisible too. This is energy that you can't see with your two physical eyes, right?
But you could definitely feel it.
Exactly.
That's what it is. Because we could see pollution, we can smell pollution, we can even taste pollution, we can hear pollution, the sound pollution, noise from cars and planes. But we can't really see the EMF pollution.
Exactly.
The radio frequency pollution. But these things do affect us in how we feel. So with this 5G, it's going to increase that sensitivity. Now it's going to be a wide span of people that's going to start feeling this. So when do we draw the line of health versus convenience? The 5G technology is not needed at all. Fiber optics, there's other solutions, and individually we have to select the other option, or not select whatever is currently being provided, and find that niche to provide a solution.
Nature. I mean, if I were to just put in one simple answer right now without getting too deep into this, is just nature, right? Because, grounding, barefoot, what we're talking about here is ions, right? With anything that we're talking about that emits electricity, we're bombarded by ions, and the negative ions is what we want to cleanse ourselves. And that's where, like we're talking earlier with waterfalls or nature, grounding, barefoot, we're actually getting those negative ions in our body. The Wi-Fi, the 5G, all of these things, we're constantly getting those positive ions, and that over time accumulates to a dis-ease of some sort. So every single buddy, all of us, we have to deal with that. So in my life, nature, like, living outside, just living more in tune with nature is the only thing that I found that is the biggest component to circling back to what works. Because at the end of the day, we can't recreate that, It's, you can do it artificially. I love grounding mats. I love this thing. If you don't have access to, some chemical-free nature out there somewhere, grounding mats, all that stuff is wonderful. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, there's always a free, option available to you, that you just have to restructure your priorities. Because I feel like what's happened now is technology has become so powerful and so, like, addictive and just engaging to our senses that nature kind of gets put on the back burner. So that's where I feel like the priority shift needs to happen.
Definitely.
Right, so it's cool. Let's talk about just crystals a little bit. Let's talk about just crystals and how I feel like there's a lot of people listening and watching right now. I get questions on Instagram a lot too about crystals and how people can use them, and something too that falls into that category of just frequency. Because crystals, what I think about what got me into this is something like an iPhone, right? We all have an iPhone or something. There's crystals in that iPhone, like all
silicon chips.
Exactly.
Computers, radios, all our technology is built on the quartz crystal. People don't realize that, the quartz crystal can be programmed, send and receive energy.
Exactly.
So the crystals that you can carry with you. I've got a nice labradorite with me.
It's beautiful.
And they have their own frequency, their own energy that they're pretty I guess solid in a way where they're structured, and they hold that frequency, and they don't waver away from that like we are, because we're biological. We eat food, we get angry, we all kinds of emotions that shifts our energy back and forth. Crystals are very stable in that sense. So quartz crystal would be considered the master healer. You can use that. You can use shungite. Now that we're talking about EMF and things like that, shungite's it's conductive. It absorbs EMF. Another good one would be tourmaline. So these crystals absorb the EMF away from you.
Exactly.
So you want to put it next to your Wi-Fi, especially when you're using it. There's a lot of solutions, but the thing is we have to engage and be, I guess, in tune with it, that we want something better. We want to use these things, but find solutions to negate the effects of it, or use it less.
Yeah, EMF, protecting from EMF, unplugging all the outlets, unplugging all the things that you're not using is a very good tool to help reduce the EMF in your house as well. Grounding is important. You can ground the outlets in your house as well. Crystals, I think, is just the best. Those Himalayan salt lamps are really cool. I use those. I think the more crystals you have in your surrounding, the better.
It's just almost like a shielding, bring up a shield around you. So there's another crystal. What is it? What's the black one? It's another one.
I think you already mentioned it, tourmaline.
Tourmaline,
Yeah.
shungite, but there's another crystal.
Mm-hmm.
Mount Shasta has a lot of it.
Yeah.
I don't know which. It'll come to me in a moment.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Yeah, no, it's, I just want to talk about it as a tool, as a vessel, because I think people, like I said, they know about crystals, they know, what they are, they're shiny rocks, but there's no real, even going to the gem show in Arizona, I just meet a lot of people that know about it physically, but then don't know the metaphysics behind it or just how to actually use it. And I think EMF is just the best gateway. It's the best tool in the introduction, because we all have experience, with EMF frequency. So that is just the best thing to kind of get started with crystals, and having them just to protect yourself from whether it's your cell phone while you're out traveling, or even the stuff that's coming out of your house.
Yeah. So you can carry with you in your pocket, or you can carry maybe on a bracelet if someone can wire wrap. I do a lot of wire wrapping, so I can wire wrap a pendant for you, but also copper. Copper is very conductive, conducts your energetic field. So silver. So sometimes we have these elements in our body, and sometimes we lack certain things, and we're kind of drawn to it, and that's what your body's trying to do, is tell you that you need certain things.
True.
Because you're drawn to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100% true. That's for me when I first started getting into it. It's just, I guess, like a genuine curiosity. And then once you go through and you actually follow that curiosity and you integrate it into your life, then it's like you can feel the difference. And then now you're able to use that, as a tool on your tool belt, and you might need it later, because we're, human beings. And like we're talking earlier, you fluctuate through emotions and you carry different energy signatures with you every single day. So it's important to have these things on you, or use them as tools when you need them. Yeah.
Their energy field is very stable, so they emit that field to assist you to be more consistent with the way you feel. If your energy is out of alignment, the crystals will help you with that. But still, you'd have to be more mindful of how you're feeling and how you're reacting to other people.
Yeah. And
And that's kind of like your gauge, your meter. Because if you're out of that alignment, you definitely notice. But the crystals help you stabilize that.
Exactly.
So that you could see the difference if you're shifting away from normally where you would feel, calm and, reflective, or whatever the situation is. So crystals definitely help. And making these bowls out of crystal, they further emit the energy to help you cleanse, to align you. So these bowls are great. If you don't have one, get one and experiment, or come to a sound
Talk
bath.
about the difference too, real quick, between the regular like singing bowl, the old school Tibetan style, and then the crystal singing bowls.
The crystals they hold they're more, they're like manufactured in a way, so that they hold a specific frequency.
Yeah.
So they could be tuned to different chakras. Mm-hmm. The Tibetan bowls are more like a frequency range. Yeah. And they're more low frequency. The vibrations are much deeper.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I use the crystal bowls and the Tibetan bowls. They have two different purposes. For me, the Tibetan bowls they're heavier and they emit a low frequency. So when I put the bowls on top of your body, on your chest, or near your head area, it really grounds you. Yeah. And people, when I play that from, people usually just disappear, like you melt away into the earth, and then your body's into the earth, and your body's part of the earth, and then your spirit's out there traveling, exploring. And then I play the crystal bowls that penetrate the body to pretty much reprogram every cell of your body energetically, is to cleanse it energetically. And then when people come back, you feel refreshed, you feel just light, and it's really fantastic. You should, if you haven't experienced a sound bath, go experience one.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. They're available to you. I mean, there's probably a crystal store near you. If you have a place that you can go to like this is honestly the best experience, because when you have multiple bowls and multiple tools, rain sticks, didgeridoos, anything that's going to emit that long resonant frequency, the longer you can do that, the more benefit you're going to feel from it. So I highly recommend getting out to some sort of frequency meditation. Or for myself, I play music through YouTube. I make, music on my channel too, but I think, the digital only goes so far, just like anything, like when you meditate by yourself versus like a group meditation, right? You have this group meditation experience that is way different energetically than playing, music at home by yourself. So I just think it's different energy.
Yeah, these bowls are great. Sound is just great, but we need to use sound properly. Music helps your brain the best. It's the best to help you learn, generate cells, generate neurons, dendrites. It's just amazing. So learn music. If you're not playing an instrument, please figure out what instrument you like, portability, whatever you're drawn to. But I definitely highly recommend playing some sort of musical instrument.
I agree. Yeah. That's where I learned a lot too. Like, for example, I love reggae music, and that's the beat of that is tied to the heart, and that's why everybody loves reggae. And it's just, I can't think of too many other genres that have an actual purpose besides just enjoyment, right? That's where chanting or more devotional music comes into play, because it actually has a purpose. Like, there's a reason why that you're doing that specific frequency, and that, chant that you're doing is repeated over and over again, rather than like a general song. So I'm just saying that has a purpose and intention. So to me, yes, there's so much more that you can get out of music, and so much more that you can get out of what you do on the day-to-day. I play it while I sleep. Binaural beats are amazing. Yes. I'm just thinking, like, there's 24 hours in the day, and a lot of people are just living through the subconscious, living through these programs that are making them unhappy. So music, sound healing, bowls, anything that you can do on the day-to-day to really uplift your frequency, to uplift your vibration, so you can get past these blocks, or at least address them, and work with the energy. Because when you're at a group session like this too, a lot of people, it's more energy, it's more concentrated energy into one place that can help, bring to that healing that needs to take place in the body at that particular individual. Yeah, so tell me about what's going on here. Tell me a little bit more about the cacao ceremonies, and just a little bit more about the Spiritual Healing Center, and just the general vision for this place and everything that's happening. Because I feel like, like yourself, we're all finding our spiritual family now. I feel like a lot of people are gone through this soul-searching process, and we're recreating what it means to live a human life on planet Earth. And we're all tired of the corporations. We're all tired of the capitalistic agendas, whether it's from Monsanto or who name it. We're all creating that change right now, and to me, that's what this place represents. And it's just awesome seeing it happen such an organic way. So I just want to hear more about that and how everything is developed.
Yeah, like I said, I was guided to here to be to do sound healing, but I didn't realize it was so much more. Now that I'm here, I'm getting other visions to continue to build a community of sharing. Because, we can pretty much get anything we need, but it's not available because it's in storage. Like a couple of years ago, I read an article that the storage company made like $2.3 billion storing people's stuff that they're not using. And the very first instrument I got that was donated was a rain stick. This thing is so beautiful, sitting in someone's house, not being used. And another thing is we can get anything we want. And this kid was given an old iPhone, and he traded up to a Porsche.
There you go.
We just need to connect with the people that have things that we need, and we can trade.
True.
This is all sharing. We have overabundance of things not properly being used.
So true.
And so this community that I would like to create, and am creating, is to share not just food, share knowledge, share tools, share space, because we're lacking the heart-to-heart connection. And we all feel so isolated and separate.
Yeah.
because of the programming, that the media programming, fear. But if we can connect with people, and that's where the healing also begins.
It's true.
Is to connect with people, to feel alive, to come up with solution, or just have someone to listen to you talk, whatever it is you want to talk about.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. No, that's awesome. I feel like I said, a lot of people are searching for what that is right now. A lot of people are tired of the old thing, the old way of life. And I feel like it's been a human experiment that's played out in the last, only 100 years. And in the whole spectrum of mankind being on planet Earth, it's a very new thing. And it hasn't worked. I mean, it's a failed experiment, in my opinion. Like, we tried it out, and now we realize it doesn't work. So we got to just do what works, right? And what works is the small, community-oriented, heart-centered people that are sharing and just offering their values to one another. And I think it's funny, too, because in parts of the world, that's obviously happening more and more. And here in America, we've gone away, and the greed and the consumerism has kind of hit its critical mass, and now it's fun watching everything kind of circle back to really what's valuable, what means the most to you at the end of the day, right? And it's just those simple things like natural water, organic food, right? Living simply and living honestly with one another and treating each other like brothers and sisters instead of some capitalistic, agenda that we can, profit from one another.
So there's a lot more here that I want to create. Definitely like a sharing of information, because what's happening right now is students are going through the old matrix, borrowing money, going out there, going to school, and then come back out just totally in debt and being stuck in the matrix and trying to figure out how they're going to pay it. Well, I want to stop all that by sharing information and creating a space for you to learn carpentry, 3D printing, sandblasting, wood carving, painting, growing food, whatever it is you want to learn. I want to create a community center to house all these tools, to be able to share the knowledge with people who are willing to share and teach people, and because we really don't have the experience to do something, and we have a place to go and figure things out, how to carve, how to, plant things and things like that is what we need. We need the experience, and that's what's lacking. So this space that I want to create will encompass as much as to pretty much change the way we live currently and go back to what we used to know, which is a community living. And we can add all the technology that comes with it, but in a safe way. If you want to use your Wi-Fi, we're going to have a little space over there where you could use your Wi-Fi, not broadcast it to the entire setting here that's hurting everything,
No, it's a good point, because it's not, throwing the baby out with the bathwater here. It's just about using these things consciously, right? I made that mistake myself in the beginning of, this awakening or whatever you want to call it. It's like a completely backlash technology and how to live off the grid and blah, blah, blah. And that's just, repressing energy just like anything else. So it's just important to circle back to balance and using things consciously. You don't have to just throw away all the things that are happening. We can actually use them. And as long as it's, conscious and it's loving your neighbor and it's not affecting the other person in a harmful way.
Not just the other person, but pretty much everything around us. Especially I just think back that when the technology we already have is already, killing all bees, right bees is, and pesticides and things like that. We need to move away from those things that are harming nature that is supporting us. People still don't realize that over 70% of the food that's on the table, fruits and vegetables, come from pollination of bees. Exactly. And so if they go away, we're pretty close behind.
No, it's true. And I think veganism is a big part of this, just global awakening with people as far as making that connection too, with the bees, with the animals, with what we need to survive on the planet has changed, right? Like, you don't need to consume these things that we thought we needed to consume, and the availability of plant-based everything is skyrocketed, and it's at every fast food restaurant now and everything, and it's just cool. So let's just talk about that a little bit for yourself. You talked about in 2012. I just want to for people listening that are new vegans, people that are just transitioning to plant-based diet, how does that affect your energy? How does that make you feel on the day-to-day?
I started watching documentaries, and at a certain point I just thought, what, I'm going to do an experiment. Really, life is an experiment. You're experimenting on yourself and things around you. So the more conscious you become, the more you be able to be aware of these things. So I decided, you know what? I read all these things. I watch all these documentaries about health and stuff like that. That what vegetarian foods would do for you, and being doing a vegetarian life. And yeah, you know what? I lost 15 pounds. Mental clarity went up. The compassion exploded. It really touched me in that way where the compassion level was so high, and yeah, I was like, I gotta. This is a great experience. I feel great. The way I'm feeling. This is the way I gotta live.
Yeah.
And then from there, I transitioned to more of a vegan diet. But I fluctuate a little bit. But
yeah, it's not about titles and labels. I'm just talking about, and generally, like making that correlation with food and energy.
Yeah.
Because that's something that I think is not talked about a lot.
How you feel is very important.
Exactly.
And what you're putting into your body, because you're creating the environment. Yeah. And you put food that's not creating a good environment, you're going to have dis-ease.
Exactly. I mean, it's just that simple, and I think a lot of people, are just using justification processes right now, and there's no labels, no judgments here. It's just at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding. And to me, the energy, the clarity, the quality of life that I get, the food that we put in is a huge component of that. So this is just a starting point for somebody. I know a lot of people that are listening, they're just getting into spirituality, just getting into plant-based food, and this is literally the motivation that gives me more energy and more clarity on my daily path. So that's the motivation that I get, because those harmonious states, that compassion that you're referring to, it's infinite. It doesn't stop. So it's something that for me, I'm consciously just expanding my awareness every single day and using these tools, and it's exciting. It's something that really motivates me on the day to day, and I wasn't having that with the other diets or lifestyles that I was living before. So I think people can find what works for them and then just keep doing it, just keep working with that energy.
It's all practice. Try different things, because if you don't continue to learn and progress, you're likely to backtrack and go back to doing the things that you're familiar with. Yeah. So it's continuous change in your diet and the way you see things and what you're putting in your body. And if you don't know how to cook, start learning to cook.
Yeah.
See, that's the other thing. I had to change. I started learning to cook when I started the vegetarian diet. I was just doing smoothies, vegetable smoothies. I was experimenting with that, So that really was a great detoxer too.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. Well, you mentioned 15 pounds. I mean, we're all carrying, and you don't have 15 pounds to lose.
No,
so
I lost 15 pounds of junk.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's a lot of people are just carrying that excess baggage, walking around with that gunk, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and that's what's holding you back. That's really what we need to address here. That's where, to me, again, this is all hardwired through nature. It's all something that was given to us for free on this earth, and it's only in this recent, human, agenda that we've created on ourselves that's created the problem. So now we're circling back to what works, chakras, using these energy, I call them light tools, because at the end of the day, we are light beings. We're spirit, soul, we are infinite. We're not this, hard dimensional body meat suit. So this light tool that we can use to really increase our light, and that's really what we need to do at the end of the day, is just do whatever is increasing your light body. Do those things that are increasing that vibrancy that make you feel the most luminous being that you are.
Yeah, do research, learn, adjust your lifestyle. There's so many improvements individually we can do on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. Question things, and find out better ways of doing things.
I agree. Real quick, let's shout out anybody listening. So I just want to say any mentors or people that you studied from. For me, I just want to shout out like Nikola Tesla and Patrick Flanagan. If you don't know who those people, Nikola Tesla is obviously a big name out there, but just specifically frequency and studying energy, because he was the one that really figured out how, if we can study the universe through vibration and energy and not like math and all these other, like that was really where the division happened in our country. But Patrick Flanagan is the reincarnate of Nikola Tesla as well, who has a recent body and just a profound, amazing light tools and also supplements. He's definitely in the health industry as well. So I'm just curious, any other mentor people that we want to give a shout out to?
Wim Hof, alkalizing your body through breathing. Of course, Dr. Sebi, Bruce Lipton, who's a biologist.
Yeah.
So all these great people, William Gray, he talks about knowing your magnetic field. It was a book written by a nurse who was questioning him, how did he do these things? So he was healing people through their magnetic field, which is energy, really. It's a frequency. So just Bert Goldman, the American monk. There's a lot. So the more you research, the more you'll find that there's information that can help you and assist you in your transcendence. Kelly Howe and her music, Kundalini meditation that she has with binaural beats. Robert Monroe in the 60s and 70s, mapping out the subconscious mind. I've used all these tools. Binaural beats because he had talked about it. Meditation, visualization, all these things work. Even scientifically, quantum
100%.
mechanics, the mirror neuron, the mind cannot differentiate between what's real and what's visualized. One might as well visualize the best of your potential, right? Meditation, visualize, abundance in your life, healing through your life. All these work because it's all energy.
So true.
Visualizing a perfect body, that you're out there and you're at the beach. These are all calming tools that you can use because the mind cannot differentiate. That's why it's very important in what you take in visually with the violence and the gore, and these things affect you on a conscious and a subconscious level because 100%. The mind cannot differentiate between that. You're watching a movie, a horror movie, and you how does your energy feel? Do you want that programming in you, right? Or the gore and things like that. If you're seeing somebody dying, your mind is also think that you're probably dying, right? Right? Let's
fight or flight response is going to be there. Yeah.
Let's not do that. Let's find other ways to entertain ourselves if we have to. But really, you can do a lot of other things that are beneficial for your health, mind, your neighbors, your environment. There's a lot of other things that are positive.
Conscious living. I mean, that's what drove me into living in temples, living in ashrams. I think, people, the rishis invented this thousands of years ago, right? And they understood how important our consciousness was and what we subject ourselves to because we absorb it. So you're 100% right. Slowly, as this awakening journey happens through the individual, I feel like basically for myself too, we just get more strict onto what we allow into our frequency, into our field, because we understand how important it is and how much it affects us.
Yeah,
so
we have to have the conscious filter, because once it affects your subconscious, those are the automatic programs. Yeah. And when you're not conscious, the automatic programs are running. And those could be very damaging in certain cases if you're not aware.
100%. No, I would say it took me many years to identify those programs and then put new ones in, because we're all carrying them. It's just a matter of, are they beneficial to your life or not? Are they really helping your path, and are they for the highest good of all, or are they just programs that are just constantly bringing you down energetically? So it's a good tool, like I said, because a lot of these people, everyone's carrying them to some degree, and using the bowls, using energy, using meditation, tai chi, yoga, raw foods, veganism, all these things can help transmute that energy. So things are available to us now. It's just funny because looking back 10 years ago, whatever, I was getting into this stuff, it's like there wasn't much around. There wasn't much Lotus Garden, where we met, was the only thing that I had that was actually like something conscious as far as a practice, as a tool that I could go to. And I was doing yoga and all these things, and I was just felt so alone and blah, blah, blah. And, flash forward 10 years, I feel like now a lot of people are just getting into this, and it's becoming more available to everybody. And it's just exciting. It's just exciting to watch.
Yeah. So medicine is in your food.
100%.
And medicine is in the frequencies that you're listening to, the sounds that you're producing. What are your thoughts? What words are coming out of your mouth? Are they positive, or are they uplifting? So it's very important to also incorporate daily positive affirmations. There's lots of out there on YouTube that you can listen to. So find your path.
Cool. Cool, man. Well, let's see. Anything to wrap up? Any other things you want to send people out there to go read? Let's maybe send them with a particular book, or I know the teachings that we both kind of resonating with. We've gone back and forth between orgonite and just crystals, using, for me, it's just something tangible, right? Like, how do we bring this metaphysical, mystical stuff into something tangible that somebody can practice, that's never even heard about this, somebody that's like never even, been to a yoga class or anything. That's what I like about this, because, you take that individual, you bring them to this, amazing Crystal Healing Spiritual Center, and you go to just one sound healing, and you're going to experience that. You're going to feel different, and you don't need to know why. You don't need to know which chakra. You don't need to know anything like that. You just need to, feel that shift. So just, one tool or one practice that people, at the end of the day can walk away with, that they can use as a tool.
Just probably look into breathing. Breathing.
Yes.
So there's, you can do the breath of fire, or you can look up Wim Hof, Wimhof, and he talks about breathing and trying to get more oxygen into your body. Yeah. So you could do the ocean breath, the breath of fire, and Wim Hof's method is to alkalize your body. You could remove a lot of dis-ease just by doing that.
I agree.
Just by breathing properly.
Yeah.
And how do you breathe properly? You could look at kids and how they expand and how they take such a full breath.
It's true.
And expand their body and fill their body with air and oxygen, and then breathe out the slow. It's just a cycle. It's just a breathing. Really, just look into how to breathe properly.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more with that. Yeah.
It's life. It's what we operate on,
Yeah.
You can go out with food, with water, but you cannot go well without oxygen.
So true. So many people are shallow breathers, breathing, with anxiety and stress and damaging their lungs and putting more weight on their body. And meditation has by far been single-handedly the most, beneficial tool in my life. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up. A lot of people, I love just the term conscious breathers. I feel like that's what we're all aspiring to, just conscious breathing. I think dolphins are the only thing on this planet that, are aware of every single breath. And if we can maintain that level of consciousness, just imagine that,
Wow.
being aware of every single breath and getting the most oxygen and the most balance, carbon monoxide, everything in our system in order to be that, healthy, vibrant being that we're supposed to be.
Yeah, because if you ever notice when you're angry and you feel hot, it's because you've stopped breathing in a form or another. Whether it be shallow or you're just holding your breath, and your body gets hot and warm, and you don't like those feelings.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. Well, cool, man. Well, how can people find you online? Just shout out your website, shout out all that good stuff so people can find the Crystal Spiritual Healing Center.
Well, I'm on Facebook currently, and also the website is under construction, Spiritual Healing. Wait a minute. Hang on. You gotta give me a moment. Crystal Healing Spiritual Center. I'm sorry. .org, and that's Perfect. The website. But also on Facebook, it's the same. Crystal Healing Spiritual Center on Facebook. So, like the page, I post a lot of information out there that will help you change your perception, the way you view things. And that's what it is relearning and seeing things from a different light. And that's really important.
Yeah. Awesome, brother. Well, thanks for being here. Much love.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.